Hi everyone, it's Eve Angeline here at eTrailer, and today we'll be taking a look at the Hollywood Racks Destination E 2-bike platform rack for your heavy electric bikes right here on our 2019 Hyundai Santa Fe. So the Destination E is an impressive bike rack. You have a 70-pound weight capacity for your extra heavy electric bikes. You have a full tilt away as well as an included ramp, although not attached. So we'll talk about those different features, but we are going to focus on our Hyundai Santa Fe here today. That way you can see how it works with the cars and then get the best fit for you, your different types of bikes, and your vehicle. So the first feature we'll take a look at is that tilt away feature, and it's going to be a little interesting, although I kind of like it. What you first need to do is rotate this knob here at the center of the rack. So this is what's holding the bike up, or the bike rack up. Once it's completely loose, you then just tilt that forward. Now the good thing is it holds its position until you are ready. Helpful when you have those 70-pound bikes on there. So then you just tilt that all the way down. There we go. So it's holding onto your bike at that full tilt, and now you can open up your hatch. So this way you can grab your bags, your helmets, your waters without having to take the bike off. And then once your door is finally closed, you then use the mast itself to lift this up and towards the vehicle. Once that's in place, just pop that lever right back in and tighten it back down. So what types of bikes can you carry with this rack? Well, you do have a 70-pound weight capacity per bike, which is even more than most of your electric bike racks. Like the Kuat NV limits you to about 60 pounds per bike, and this has just that bit more. Now, the way it holds on to the bikes is you have a bunch of different touch points. So in the front, you have a chock as well as two wheel straps holding down your front wheel. In the back, you have another rear wheel strap, and then you have a frame mount. So this is gonna be a clamp that goes around your frame. The good thing about this is you have a little bit of adjustability. So whether you have a step-through frame or a women's frame or a kid's bike, you can just pick what works best for you when tightening things down. Now, when you wanna take your bike off, I would recommend starting over by the wheel straps. You have a lever on the end. You just press that lever. That disengages the strap, allowing you to take that out and swing it away from your spokes. So once you loosen the straps, before you take off that frame mount, I do recommend setting up your ramp. So you have this pretty sturdy ramp here. You're gonna have this adjustment knob at the back. You just need to loosen that knob, and that will allow this ramp to slide out. Now, this only clips onto the back of your bike rack. So you can see here how there's gonna be a tab on the rack itself. Just put that into place, and then this will automatically slide out to the position where you want it to be in. And now we're ready to loosen our frame mount. So notice how this has a lock cord at the end. That way you can lock this onto your bike, help keep it secure, a bit easier than using a cable lock and wrapping that around. Now to loosen the bike rack, once it's unlocked, you just rotate that knob, and you can see how that clamp opens up. So once that's fully open, you can then just take that off of the bike, push that out of the way, and now you are free to ramp this down. So with the bike off, we get to take a closer look at the bike rack itself. One thing about this ramp is that while it's super cool in terms of how sturdy it is, as well as how it can accommodate those wider tires, the downside is you can't store it on the rack itself. You're gonna have to put this inside of your car. So just remember you bring your ramp, that way when you're ready to go, it's ready to go too. Now we do have these straps, and these straps can be adjusted back and forth to accommodate those different wheelbases. If you notice how wide the straps are too, the maximum tire width you can carry with this rack is going to be up to 4.5-inch wide tires. Another thing about this is that please put your straps away even though your bikes are not on them. That way they're not flopping around as you drive around. In the front, you also have this front wheel chock. So this holds on to your front wheel by 2 points of contact, just giving you that extra strength and durability, especially for those 70-pound bikes. Now this is gonna add some length to the back of our Santa Fe. Let's take some measurements to see exactly how much. I'm gonna measure from our bumper right over here to the end of the rack, and it's gonna sit at 31 inches. So that's a measurement to keep in mind when you're backing into your garage or trying to park into a really tight spot. Another measurement is going to be ground clearance. So the Destination has this style where you kind of have like these wings, and that gives you that wheelbase capacity. So measuring at the end of the bike rack to the ground, it sits at 15 inches. Another good thing about this is that the ramp is gonna help you out because you're gonna be lifting your bikes up that height, and the ramp will help out. That way you don't have to lift them up that high. Now you can move this into the portable or compact position, but you have some extra steps to do before you get there. So you do have these levers on the side of your mast, and you're gonna have these straps that are holding those levers in place. So first, remove those straps, and that will allow you to loosen these levers. There's one lever, and here's the second one. It's a little bit tight, so let's loosen it up just a little bit before pop that down. There we go. And now we can bring this into the down or stowed position. You can also see how our frame mounts can be adjusted here, moved back and forth. Once that's in place, we're gonna go ahead and tighten this back down. And from here, we can now fold the rack up. So we do have this pin and clip, which you're gonna want to remove. So that's that clip, and that was holding this pin into place. So once that pin is out of the way, we're gonna lift up on the rack, and there we go. That's now in the folded position. So pop that pin right back in to secure it. So this is gonna be the compact or portable position, also the position you'll have it when stored in your garage. So we have pretty good clearance between our bike rack and our vehicle still. The closest point is gonna be, I'd say, from that frame mount to the bumper, and that's 3.5 inches away. So plenty of clearance there. The next measurement is gonna be length now added to the back of our Santa Fe. So from the bumper to the end of the rack by this hinge, that sits at 14 inches. So big difference compared to when this was folded down. You'll definitely want it in this position when you're just planning on driving around town and you don't want to take your bike rack off because it is heavy, and you also don't want to take up too much space. Now, what is it like living with a bike rack behind you all the time? Well, this is going to be a big and bulky bike rack, although we do have some good openings on the inside to help with visibility. So where the mast sits is right where your windshield wiper is, so you'll still have that full rear view window to see out of. And then you also have your taillights. So your taillights are sitting above and past where the bike rack is, which means that those will still be visible too. Now your backup camera sits right over here. That's gonna be aligned with the top of your bike rack. So what's gonna happen is you will lose a good amount of visibility through your backup camera, although you'll still kind of be able to see the vehicles behind you through the openings of the rack. So this has a 2-inch shank which fits into a 2-inch hitch receiver. It has an automatic line up where it automatically lines up your pinhole. What you do have to use though is gonna be this end just to make sure your anti-rattle pin is in place. Then you just tighten it down on that. Now you do have keys and a lock at the end of that pin. That's going to be key to the lock cords you find on your frame lock. So with this tightened down, you can see here as I shake our bike rack back and forth just to try to simulate that road movement and vibration. Even on the bike rack itself, you can see how the vehicle is moving at this point. There is some movement here, so just double check your hinges if you do feel like a lot is moving around, even if your anti-rattle bolt is tightened down. So all of that works together just to create a nice and smooth ride for your bikes overall. So my personal thoughts about the Hollywood Racks Destination E 2-bike platform rack is it's definitely a heavy duty bike rack and with impressive tilt away. It goes almost 90 degrees even with the 70-pound bikes on there. One downside to this bike rack is it is going to be heavy, so just keep that in mind when installing that onto your vehicle. You also lose access to your hatch with it folded up like this, and it's a little bit of a process to bring it back down. So if you're carrying groceries or you have a cart and you need to put away in the hatch, that's going to be something to be mindful with a bike rack on your vehicle. But all in all, you have more weight capacity than the Kuat NV. You do not have the ramp installed on the bike rack though, so that's something that the Yakima on-ramp does a little bit better than the Destination rack. If you want to compare the different bike racks, they do a similar job, have a similar weight capacity. One just does tilts away a bit different than the other. So the Hollywood Racks Destination E bike rack is a very impressive bike rack with a lot of weight capacity, great for your extra heavy electric bikes, and you saw it right here on our 2019 Hyundai Santa Fe.
Here on our test course, we'll start by going through the Solemn. This is going to show us the side-to-side action, which simulates turning corners and evasive maneuvers. Then we get to the alternating speed bumps. We'll see the twisting action. This will simulate hitting a curb or pothole or driving on uneven pavement. Then we'll go over the full speed bumps, and we can see the up and down action. This will be like driving in and out of a parking lot, garage, or a driveway.